brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. George Kamel, #1 best-selling author, host of The George Kamel Show on YouTube, is Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. The phone number here is 888-825-5225. Tony is in Chicago. Hi, Tony. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Hey, so I manage a special needs trust for my mother, who's 67. And currently, the money in that account is about $170,000, and it's all sitting in cash. And I got a call from the bank today asking if they're trying to encourage me to invest it in different ways. And I recently saw a video of you talking about the risks of bonds, and I wanted to call and ask your opinion on how I should best go about this.
Yeah, I would not do any bonds for sure. Your mom is in a special needs trust? What's her issue?
Yes. She has multiple sclerosis, has had it for 30 years, and is in a nursing home.
Oh, wow. Okay. And the 170 is all the money she has in the world?
Plus about $10,000 in checking account, but yes.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. And how much are you using? Is there a burn rate on it? Are you using it for her care?
I have not touched a cent of it in the few years it's been active, since I established it.
How is she being cared for?
Medicare, Medicaid.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so to the extent we can leave it alone, we can invest it in something that has a longer time horizon to be safe. So just like a good growth stock mutual fund, if you leave that alone 5 years, you're pretty safe. Okay? So I certainly wouldn't put all of it there. I'd be looking for a mix between high yield savings for a big chunk of this, and then the other chunk I might do something as simple as an S&P 500 or sit down with a SmartVestor Pro and just pick out some very, very calm growth and income type funds. But all of those funds would be, in the last year they would have paid 20%, but the last year the market was up 30, which is crazy. That's not normal. But in an average, they would probably pay out 10, where the market's paying out 12, where a high yield savings is paying out 4. So,
correct.
I'm going to invest some of it, not all of it. I'm going to invest some of it, not all of it, to the extent I'm comfortable I can leave my hands off of it.
Okay.
What does the next 1 to 2 years look like as far as short-term costs?
I really don't know how to answer that question. I don't foresee any major costs. But, for example, she just had a bunch of dental work done that wasn't covered. But we were able to pay that without having to dip into this special needs trust. So things like that, maybe, but otherwise I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if it was me, I'd probably put in like 100 in some mutual funds with a SmartVestor Pro that have a very low volatility, very calm funds. Okay. And then I'm going to put the other 70 into just high yield savings. But that will at least change your income. Instead of making $4,000 on that 100, you might make $12,000 on that 100.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing.
I understand. Okay. Outstanding.
But you want to be able to access it when she needs it, because that's the primary thing it's for. So yeah, click on at Ramsey Solutions, just click on SmartVestor Pro and find one near you that you like, and sit down with them, and they can teach you some things you can do. Bryce is in Dallas. Hey, Bryce, what's up?
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for answering my call.
Sure. How can we help?
Well, I ran into a recent situation. Let me just get into it. But basically, I've driven a 2018 Ford F-150 for about 7 years. We ran into an engine issue to where the second cylinder within the engine busted. After taking it to two mechanics, I got the same verdict that it's going to cost about $15,000. It's going to require a whole brand new engine replacement. And so just considering my options, these two top things have been entering my mind. Either one, I pay the $15,000 to go ahead and get the engine replaced. This is an F-150 that has about 127,000 miles on it, or I can go toward getting a new vehicle. And the one that I'm currently, maybe I have a lot of numbers that I've just been working through, but let me just give some details. But it's the exact same vehicle, exact same model. The only difference is it's a brand new year. Considering the down payment that I would make and the vehicle trade-in value that I got from a dealership, comes out to about $25,000 going in. The vehicle price it is quoted at is about $40,000. And the current APR rate is 1.9% over 60 months. So ballpark, that's $15,000.
You want to go buy a brand new truck? Is that what you said?
Yeah. I'm considering either buying a brand new truck versus getting the engine.
You're broke. Fixed. You don't go buy a brand new truck when you're broke. No.
Okay.
This 2018, if it was running, is worth what?
2018. I mean, if it was worth running, I mean, if it was running, it's 10,000, 11,000 ballpark.
Yeah. So that's what you get. You got a $20,000 or $10,000 truck. You got notes on this truck, right?
Fully paid off.
Okay. And so you want to use this as an excuse to do something stupid and go in debt and buy a truck you can't afford? No.
How much money do you have saved up?
About $20,000 saved up.
And what's your income?
$95,000 a year.
Okay. Yeah. And that $20,000 you have saved, does that include your emergency fund, or is this just your car savings fund is $20,000?
That's emergency fund, $20,000.
Okay. Buying a new car is not an emergency, honey. By definition, it's a Bryce wants a new truck, is what this is.
That is true.
There's no emergency here. All right. So, let's backtrack a little bit. If you get a different car, you need to get about a $10,000 car that you can pay cash for. Okay.
Okay.
That's the wise thing to do in your situation, because car payments are a mathematical ball and chain that will 100% cause you to not build wealth and stay middle class the rest of your life. If you invest into a good mutual fund, what you were getting ready to put into that truck, you'll be wealthy.
Okay.
That's what I want you to do. And I'm not against the truck. I got a nice truck. I drove a nice truck to work today. All right?
Yeah. Yeah, so, I know, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the point. Now, let's backtrack on one other thing, too. $15,000 for a new engine in that truck is asinine. Somebody's running you up a flag. So you need to look at a couple of other things. Number one, I want you to hit two more good mechanics, and I want you to consider two possibilities to fix the truck before you make the decision to get rid of it. Number one possibility is buy a salvage engine from a junkyard on a truck that was totaled, but the engine's perfect, and the engine has 10,000, 15,000 miles on it, and you can buy that for pennies of what you're talking about. Or do something like a factory rebuilt motor, not a brand new motor, like a Jasper brand as an example. They rebuild them, and it's half of what you're talking about. So you do not need a brand new engine in a 2018. That's asinine fix. That's a bad repair. So you need a used engine or a rebuilt engine in a 2018. Then you decide if you're going to keep it or not. No new trucks, Bryce, if you want to be rich. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey everybody, listen to this. Helix, who makes the best mattresses on planet Earth, actually throughout the universe, they've extended their Cyber Monday savings. Listen, I've spent my whole life sleeping on mattresses, ones that were not great, and sleeping on a Helix mattress has transformed my rest. It's made me a better dad, husband, friend, worker. Listen, I'm getting deep levels of refreshing sleep, and I say this all the time to anyone who will listen. Everyone in my family sleeps on a Helix mattress now. And my family, just like all of you, they're all different. All of us are different. And because everyone sleeps in their own unique way, Helix has created different mattress models designed for side sleepers and stomach sleepers and back sleepers for everyone. And if your spine needs a little extra love, they've got mattresses for you too. Plus, Helix offers a 100-night trial, and all Helix mattresses come with either a 10 or 15-year warranty. I want you to get online and take the Helix Sleep Quiz, just like I did. It's going to help you find the perfect mattress for you and your sleep preferences, and it takes less than 2 minutes. And here's the best part. Helix is offering our listeners extended Cyber Monday savings. 20% off all mattresses plus a free bedding bundle. Go to helixsleep.com/Ramsey for details and to save 20% off everything. That's Helix, Helix, helixsleep.com/Ramsey. With Helix, better sleep starts right now.
George Kamel Ramsey Personality is my co-host today. Bill is with us in San Diego. Hi, Bill. How are you? Bill? Hello, Bill.
Here.
Hey, how are you? How can we help?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How can we help today, sir?
All right. So my wife and I combined, we make about $500,000 to $600,000 a year, but we still somehow are unable to save as much as I believe we should save. So so that's my problem. I mean, our monthly expenses are about $30,000 a month, and then add taxes to that. So we pretty much even out every year. And I believe when we make $500,000 to $600,000 a year, we should be able to save more.
I would agree.
I think the $30,000 a month expense is your clue.
How much of that is
yes.
debt payments?
Well, it's on two properties. One is primary residence and one is an investment property. And the debt payments on the mortgage are add up to about $12,000 a month.
Yeah. Why do you need $18,000 a month to run your household?
Well, about $8,000 to $9,000 go to charity for a good cause, and then the rest, like I would say, about $10,000 is for groceries, utilities, for the car payment, and a little bit for towards.
Why do you have car payments when you make $600,000 a year?
Say that again?
Why would you have a car payment when you make $600,000 a year?
Well, we one of the car is paid off, or the other one it's a lease, so we make about $750 a month for that one. Yeah. We have a bigger family, 5 people, so it's a relatively bigger SUV.
Well, which you could have written a check and purchased, and should have instead of leasing and renting your car for $700 a month. Okay, so yeah. You're giving away $100,000 a year in that $30,000 a month budget. You said $8,000 to $10,000. So there's where $100,000 of it goes, right?
Yeah, easy. Yeah, it could be more than that. 100 to 120. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And and you've got a car payment.
Yes.
Which we would not have. And what do you guys do for a living?
I own a business, and my wife works with a company. She makes about $100,000, and the rest is my income. And I own a service-based business. Okay,
all right. The way you're discussing this, the language you're using is very general. It's not precise about the numbers, which tells me you're kind of just throwing this over there and then just shocked that it disappeared. So if I woke up in your shoes, you've got a level of disgust, says this is not okay, is what you're saying. We make this kind of money. We shouldn't have no money. We shouldn't have a car payment when we make $600,000. We should have just bought the car. Then what I would do is simply do a detailed budget with your spouse and come into agreement of what we want to give, what we want to save, and what we want to spend and what we want to spend it on. And every month before the month begins, every dollar has an assignment exactly. But it kind of feels like, Bill, I went through a period of time in my life where I thought I could out-earn my stupidity, my lack of organization, my lack of detail, and you can't. If you had a person working in your business that was managing a section of your business as poorly as you are managing your finances, you would fire them for incompetence. And so you got to kind of treat it that way from an emotional standpoint and do a detailed budget.
And it's funny, Dave, as people make more, especially people who are good at making money, like Bill's good at making money, you're good at making money, you think you can just solve the problem by, well, I'll just make more money. As long as we don't overdraft, we're doing okay. But when you do that budget, you realize if this was a business, you go, we are wasting a lot of money in this business. We could be doing a lot better if we cut the spending, get out of this debt. We might need to sell this investment property. It's not a blessing right now. Might need to downshift some of our giving a little bit until we get back on track. So that's the kinds of things the levers you'd be pulling if this was a business. You need to treat your household the same way.
Yeah, you need to detail it out and then stick to it. And both of you and your wife, have an agreement. You're both looking at it. You're not bringing it in, slapping it down on the table and declaring, I have done a budget, you people will live on it. That won't work. No, you get your wife involved in the disgust. It's not okay that we make this much money and we have no money. It's not okay that we make this much money and we don't invest. So generosity is awesome. Investing is amazing. Enjoying money, yes, you should. All three things. But very, 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 very intentional. And right now, you're not intentional. You're kind of throwing a bale of dollars over the fence and then coming back to see what's left later. And after the family devours it. And so it may be you downshift your giving. Your giving is pretty heavy. I'm not against generosity in any form. I tell folks to do it all the time. But if you're doing zero investing and you're giving 20%, you may need to adjust that, at least temporarily. But I think you got some lifestyle issues, and I think you guys just kind of walk around and do whatever you want because you make enough money. And I think if you'll just actually pay attention and say, no, we're not doing that. No, that's crazy. We're spending what on that? Yeah. And you start actually telling the money what to do, you'll very naturally tighten this up a little bit. Dane is in Houston, Texas. Hi, Dane. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, Mr. Ramsey. How about yourself?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
All right. So, me and my wife, I'm the only one that works out of the family. We got 2 kids. Only debt we have is our house. We owe about $141,000 on it. And we were going to continue paying towards the house and paying it off sooner, but we were wondering, should we sell the house and move farther inland away from Galveston Bay so our insurance ain't so expensive? My flood insurance is about $3,000 a year. Homeowners with fire is about $2,000, and then my windstorms around $1,500. Should we sell the house that we have a 2.7% interest on and move farther in for a more expensive house with a higher interest rate, or stay?
Well, in a sense, you have a high interest rate now because you have a hurricane tax.
That's true.
In a sense, because of the location of the property.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's causing you pain. Which causes you to ask the question. I mean, the only thing wrong with moving is that you're not going to get the same rate next time. Well, whoopie-doopie, when rates come down, you can refinance. We marry the house, we date the rate. So rates are temporary.
Yes, sir.
And if you're going to pay this thing off in the next few years, if it's at 140 and you go, we're going to aggressively get this thing down to 0 in the next 5 years, the interest rate's not going to matter that much.
Right. Yeah, we planned on paying the house off that we're in now within the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and if you bought one in the similar price range, you could do the same thing, but you didn't have all the insurance cost.
Right.
So I wouldn't go just upgrading the house and get a way more expensive house and get a way bigger mortgage just to get out of this tax and insurance situation.
It's not necessary. Buy a similar price range.
Hey guys, I'm your host, Rachel Cruz, and welcome to the last episode in this series, Dave Ramsey's Greatest Hits, where we're looking back at the best moments from the last 10 years of The Ramsey Show on video. And for this final episode, we're highlighting Dave's top teaching moments. And I'm talking about everything from paying off debt to building a home to buying a car, all the classics. I promise you're going to get some wisdom you didn't even know you needed right now. So check it out.
This is the show where we talk about money in a way everyone can understand it and in a way that applies to everyone. The danger of these simple concepts is those of you that view yourself as intellectuals, those of you that view yourself as sophisticated, sometimes you look at something that's simple and you don't understand how profound it is. Like the borrower is slave to the lender.
Oh, but I use credit cards to get my miles.
You actually think you're going to take on a multi-billion-dollar company who studies your behavior more than you study your behavior and come out on the right end of this stick. That doesn't make you sophisticated. That makes you blatantly stupid. Think about it. Did you know the credit card is the most aggressively marketed product in the history of humankind? Nothing has been sold to anyone in any culture in any kind of a volume close to the credit card. No product line or service has had anywhere near as much money spent on marketing and sophistication to sell it to you. Hundreds of millions of dollars a year is spent to sell you this product. And then you're so stupid that you think you're going to get away with using it for free. If you do, it's going to be a short-term thing. Or if you think you do, you left out some of the variables. Example. When you spend using cash, it activates the pain centers of your brain. You have an ouchie moment when you hand over Uncle Benjamin Franklin. Dad, gum, I just bought dinner. When you lay Uncle Benjamin Franklin in that black plastic tray known as his coffin, because he's going away and he's not coming back, you put him inside that little Visa or American Express fold-over vinyl thing that the server brings you, and you lay Uncle Benjamin Franklin in there, you have a moment with Uncle Ben. It's Uncle Ben, I'll never see you again. You know this is happening. When you pay with plastic and I interview you 24 hours later, you don't know what the total was on the bill. You can't tell me what you spent. You don't know what you spent at the gas pump because you stuck a card in it, you pumped the gas, and you walked away. You can't tell me what your gas bill was. In the days that we used to walk into the market and lay money down on the counter, and then they would give you change because you didn't round it off when you were putting your gas in, we knew exactly what we spent on gas in those days. Today, you don't even know what your gas is. You don't know. I use a debit card. I can't tell you what mine was. Can I tell you what it cost to fill up my truck the other day? I don't know. I didn't notice. Just stuck the card in, put the gas in, drove away. I'm just like you. Cash activates the pain centers of the brain. There's 2 or 3 things that activate memory. Memory is activated primarily by pain, fear, heavy emotion of some kind. Positive, pleasurable emotion will activate memory. That's why you smell something and you remember a girl you dated in high school. Smell activates that memory. That's what happens. And so that's the process. So here's the thing. If you can't remember it, it means the pain centers of your brain were not activated. And when we do surveys with what you spent on that meal, as you walk out of the door of the restaurant, you can't tell me what the total was.
Oh, it was around $25. Around $52. I don't know. 56, 54. I don't know. I don't even remember. I think I left the tip. I left a big tip because I've been drinking. You know, now you really can't remember anything, right? So this is how people handle their money.
And yet you tell me you're going to beat the credit card company. You spend 12 to 18% more on average when you use plastic than when you use cash. That's what all the studies show us because you don't feel the pain. And the world's worst place is the grocery store. They are the best marketers on the planet. The best merchandisers on the planet is the grocery store. Man, they know how to put the food at the right place. The old-fashioned example, the easiest example, is the bread and the milk's at the back, right? Because everybody that walks in a grocery store is buying bread or milk, and they have to go through the full length of the store and have every opportunity to impulse on some kind of jar of peanut butter and jelly mixed together, pre-mixed for you. I don't know what you're impulsing on, but there's something getting your attention. It must be those new peach Cheerios I heard about today. And guess what? All the stuff is at the eye level that gets your attention, and they pay for the shelf position as you walk to the back to get your bread and milk, and you can't walk out without spending money. It's the aisles are designed for you to buy stuff. And when you use plastic at the grocery store, you have no idea what your grocery bill is. And you spend more. You spend more on clothing. Oh, yeah, throw in that accessory. Oh, yeah. You'll pick up other people's tab at the restaurant. I'll buy your dinner tonight. Not think anything about it. Just drop $50. Never think a thing about it. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be generous. I'm not saying you shouldn't accessorize. And I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy some purchases at the grocery store. I'm just saying you ought to do it on purpose. And if you think that credit card use, even if you're paying it off every month, costs you $0, then you are a very naive individual that has been influenced by an industry that has spent more to influence you than any other industry in the history of the world. That should give you pause. That should give you pause. If anybody else was selling you that hard on anything, your shields would go up. But for some reason, when it's credit cards, we're like, oh, no, Dave, I have this figured out. I'm 26, and I've got this figured out. I'm 26 years old. I make $42,000 a year, but I'm going to beat up on old Discover card. They don't know anything. I've got them beat. I'm getting those Discover points. Not costing me a thing. You know how stupid that makes you sound when you say stuff like that? I'm making all my money on my airline miles. You know, I've met with thousands of millionaires. I've never met a millionaire who said, Dave, you know, I made all my money on my airline miles. Dave, my breakthrough was my Discover points. I'll pay mine off every month, Dave. I'm beating up on the credit card company. I'm getting the use of their money, wink, wink. Millionaires just don't say stuff like that. Now, some of them use a credit card. They do pay it off every month. But I got to tell you, their lifestyles are so conservative. Beside, you know, when I set them up next to you, middle-class people who are spending everything you make and trying to convince me that I'm a troglodyte because I don't use credit cards. Well, I'm not broke anymore. This is a multimillionaire troglodyte you're listening to. Why? Because I start understanding that behavior affects your ability to build wealth more than all your little math tricks you think you see all the variables on. The borrower is slave to the lender. It doesn't say except airline miles. The borrower is slave to the lender. It doesn't say except Discover points. The borrower is slave to the lender. It doesn't say except I got 0% interest on my new car, which lost $7,000 when I drove it off the lot, so it's not really 0%, is it? How stupid are we? I mean, you're gonna hand me a nickel in front of me while you're picking a $100 bill out of my back pocket and call me smart. Think, people. Think. So, as you know, most of you that listen regularly, we've been on the air now for a little over 25 years. Even before I was on the air, I was teaching people about money. When I first started this stuff, I'm a math nerd. I've got a degree in finance. I had all the letters and licenses after my name and all the different things. And, you know, I was real concerned about the math. Really concerned about the math. And I would sit down with people and show them how to get out of debt. And they would go home and promptly not do it. It was really frustrating. I started figuring out that hope has more to do with you winning with money than math does. Because hope gives you, well, it's fuel on the fire. It gives you a reason to make changes, a reason to do something you've never done before. And really what we're saying here is that personal finance is about 80% behavior. It's only about 20% head knowledge and math. The problem with your money is not your math. The problem with your money is the person in your mirror. They're screwing up everything. If I can get the guy in my mirror to behave, he'd be skinny and rich, right? That's what I figured out. So I quit telling people to get out of debt, paying off the highest interest rate first. I started teaching people what we started calling the debt snowball. And it's a real tough metaphor to grasp. You list your debts, smallest to largest. You pay minimum payments on everything but the little one. You attack the little one with a vengeance. Scorched earth lifestyle. Sell so much stuff the kids think they're next. Take 16 extra jobs. Name the dog eBay and put him there. Put the cat on Craigslist. We're getting out of debt. We're getting out of debt. And you pay everything. You stop all investing temporarily and completely focus all your emotional, spiritual, financial, relational energy on that smallest debt. Everything goes on that. When that one's gone, you take the payment that used to be there and any other money we can squeeze out of our budget and we throw it at number 2. And when that one's gone, then we take the payments from 1 and 2. The snowball rolls over again. It picks up more snow and you attack number 3. The average person for the past 25 years that has done that with great focused intensity, intentionality, gone crazy to the point their broke friends and relatives thought they needed counseling. They shaved their head, they drank the Kool-Aid, they get out of debt in about 18 to 24 months, everything but their house. That's the average. Now, some of you got a lot of debt. It takes you 5 years. Some of you get out of debt in 4 months, but the average is between 18 and 24 months. It works. Millions, tens of millions of people have gotten out of debt. Debt-free screams alone on the air here last year were $49.8 million. That's kind of like $50 million. And that was just the ones that screamed on the air. Other people just stood in their backyard and screamed, and that worked too, you know. You don't have to come on the air for it to count. You're out of debt. Shut up. Well, Dave, you ought to. Dave Ramsey, I saw a guy on Twitter. Dave Ramsey doesn't teach the most optimum way to get out of debt. The most optimum way to get out of debt is to pay it off highest interest rate first, says the moron on Twitter. I used to be that moron. I tried that. The problem is it doesn't work. So let me explain to you what optimum means. Optimum is the one that works, not the one that's mathematically correct. Honey, if we were doing math, we wouldn't have credit card debt to start with. This is not a math problem. This is a you problem. It's personal finance. It's more behavior. Your success with your finance has more to do with you getting along with your spouse and being on the same page than it does mathematics. You can be a freaking math genius and you and your spouse aren't on the same page, and all of our data tells us you will not win with money. You will not build wealth. You cannot build wealth in spite of a princess or in spite of a prince who spends money like they're in Congress. You can't do it. You can't make enough money to outspend stupidity or out-earn stupidity. I tried it. Not my wife. I was the stupid one. I always thought if I just made a little more, it'd be okay. No, I had to learn to control what I had. So we started teaching people a class called Financial Peace University. The class is about 25 years old. Started teaching it with an overhead projector and a bad suit. It was $569 to go through the class. 4 people came the first night. 3 of them bought. $569. The class was 26 weeks long. 13 lessons come every other week for 6 freaking months. Guy stopped by here the other day that was in that very first class. Good to see him. I hadn't seen him in a long time. We got to be friends, he, his wife, and he and I, and he's a multimillionaire now, by the way. Why? Because I gave him money? I didn't give him any money. I just showed him how to do it, and he did it. He followed the steps that we teach in Financial Peace University, not only the baby steps, not only the debt snowball, but also start investing in good mutual funds over a long period of time. That's 25 years. You should be a multimillionaire. You do this stuff, it works. That's what optimum is, morons. You people that are calling me out, and it's not optimum. Let me just tell you, optimum is what works. That's what's optimum, not what's mathematically correct. I understand that snowball's not mathematically correct, and I don't really care. My math nerd down inside of me cringes, but I don't really care. What matters is what works, how it allows you to change your life. Dave, I'm thinking about building a house. Any suggestions? Absolutely. Definitely got suggestions when you're thinking about building a house. There's 3 and maybe 4 things you must do if you're going to build a house. Maybe 5, but I'll walk you through. Here's what we do, okay? There's some sub-pieces. So 3, maybe 4. The maybe 4 is if you've already picked out the property and bought it, and you've already got your builder, and you're doing kind of an independent, standalone type of a deal, then we will pass on number 1. But number 1 is if you haven't, then I would get a good buyer's agent realtor at DaveRamsey.com. Click on ELP for real estate ELP and get them to represent you through the whole transaction with the builder, help you navigate with the builder if you haven't already selected it. So if you're going in where somebody's building houses, a builder's got a subdivision going, and they're doing a whole bunch of deals, and they got houses popping up everywhere, and you're going to run down there and go, I want that one on that lot, and you haven't done that yet, and yeah, I'd get a realtor in your corner, a buyer's agent in your corner, because they'll work as your liaison during the construction process, and they're going to work their butts off for their commission, I promise you. Now, the other 3 are with everybody. Okay, there are 3 things that run a building job. A building job is simply a project. It's project management, that's all it is. If we're doing a project here, developing a product, how do you do that? Well, projects all need basically 3 things. You need a blueprint, which is how the project is going to be built. What's the house going to be? You need a detailed blueprint that you and the builder are in agreement on. If you don't already have that, while you're drawing it, involve your builder with the architect. So the 2 of them are working together to develop the plan. So the architect's not drawing something stupid that's ridiculous to be built or super expensive because they went to art class and don't know anything about building, okay? So you got to have the balance in there. But if you've already got your blueprint, you got your blueprint. That's thing 1. This is one of the 3 pieces of paper that manages a building job. The second piece of paper is do not engage in a building project without a detailed schedule. A schedule. When we built the homes that we built, we had a spreadsheet, and before we broke ground, we knew the week the trim carpenter was going to show up. We knew the week the painter was going to show up. We knew the week the roofer was going to show up. We knew the week the grading was going to be done on this or that. All, with bushes are going in on this date. We're going to get the CO, the certificate of occupancy on this date. And so you begin with the end in mind on the schedule. You got your blueprint, you got the schedule that we're going to build it. Then you could tell if the builder's off track because he's building something that's not on the blueprint, or he's off schedule because weather's been bad, or he hadn't done a good job of keeping the sub scheduled in. But if you start a house in October and you know March the 4th, the trim carpenter's supposed to be there, you can already schedule the trim carpenter. And so you don't end up without a dadgum trim carpenter when you're supposed to. And right now there's a shortage of labor in the building business. And if you don't have your subs lined up all the way out, you're going to get messed over on your schedule. So a schedule and a blueprint. The third piece of paper is a budget. Need a budget which we're building to. And when they come in and go, well, we can't do this on budget. What do you mean you can't do it on budget? This is the budget. This is what we said. And it keeps you from doing stupid stuff. We're building a house, and the decorator came in and picked out expensive carpet for the downstairs. Nobody goes downstairs much. And she's blowing our whole carpet budget, our flooring budget, on this stupid downstairs carpet. Because decorator's being a decorator, right? I'm like, no, this is Dave Ramsey building this house, kiddo. So put the cheaper carpet downstairs. Nobody goes down there anyway. And get your dadgum flooring budget back into, because we're not going a bazillion dollars over our flooring budget. And so you can build a house on budget, on schedule, and then every Friday we met with the builder and we looked at the blueprint, the schedule, and the budget and made sure everything that was done that week was lining up with all of that. The blueprint, the schedule, and the budget. The blueprint, the schedule, and the budget every Friday morning. And, of course, we had the money lined up, so we paid them every Friday morning. And they were able to pay their subs. Everybody's happy. Everything stays on track. We finished the houses early and under budget, the last 2 houses we built. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine building a house for me? How big a pain in the butt that is. But you know what? We didn't change 63 things during the way. The more change orders you do, the more you're going to lose your butt. It's hard on the builder. It's hard on the subs. It's hard on the schedule. It's hard on the budget. So make your mind up and stick with it. We did 2-3 change orders on both houses. I mean, almost no change orders. We had some big stuff we got in there. We went, no, this isn't right. We got to change this. And we spent, and it was on us. And then it's on me. And then mixed in this is you as the person building the stinking house have to do your job, and that is stay ahead of them on the selections. When you don't go pick out the carpet, you don't go pick out the light fixtures, you don't go pick out the faucets, you don't go pick out the plumbing fixtures, months and months and months ahead of when you need to, then you're slowing the whole thing down, and then you go, I had a bad experience building because you were so freaking indecisive you were impossible to work with. Every time I give this talk, builders all go, God, I wish I could get all my people to do this. I'm like, you need to demand it because you stay mad at your builder and it's your fault. Now, sometimes builders are doofuses too, like any other business. But if you've got a quality realtor helping you lead your way through this, and you'll do the budget, the blueprint, and the schedule. The budget, the blueprint, and the schedule, manage to that, and you stay ahead of them. Don't you be the problem. You make your decisions. And a friend of mine took him an extra year to build his house because he couldn't get his wife to go pick out the crap. I mean, I'm having a fit. Hey, she couldn't make up her mind. I'm going to kill her. What are you talking about? She can't make up her mind. A year? Well, we enjoy the process. I don't enjoy process. I want to get it done. I'm like, why am I building a house? Because it's a game? No, I'm building it to move into it. So you stay ahead of them. You don't stop them from anything. You don't get in the way. You don't be a problem child. And don't you go over on the site and start telling subs stuff's wrong. You're not running the job. The general contractors run the job. If you're going to go around the site, the only thing you do is take food, smile, and tell everybody how wonderful they are. And if you got a problem, you call your builder, you call your general contractor. Don't you go telling the electrician of plugs in the wrong place. They get confused who the boss is then. Stay in the chain of command. Keep stuff picked out. Be a pleasant experience, and you will have a pleasant experience. But manage it like it's a project. I mean, people wander around the barn building these houses, and it takes you forever to get them done. I've got some friends that build houses here in the area, and they refuse to build houses for people. They build them as specs, and when they're done, you can move in them. You can buy them, but they won't let you be involved because people drive the builder crazy by being indecisive and changing stuff halfway through. And a country music girl in our area was building a house, and she and her decorator changed everything. It took them an extra year, and they spent an extra $4 million on an $8 million. I mean, it's supposed to be a $4 million house. It ended up being $8 million, and it took them an extra year to build it. All because she changed everything. She built a stupid house twice as she was going up. Just change. The whole house was change orders. I mean, it's ridiculous. No, that's a dumb way to build a house. It drives everybody crazy and makes the decorator money, makes the builder money, makes the builder crazy, and makes you, the customer, crazy and broke. Figure out what you're going to do and do it. Have a clear path to building a house. And you'll have a great experience if you do that. I have had great experiences. Now, no project of that size happens without glitches and without you having to have some discussions from time to time, like get your butt in gear kind of discussion. But that's true of managing any project. You got to line the labor sources up and get things moving. Like, dude, you guys are 2 weeks behind. How you going to make it up? I don't know. It's been raining. Well, make it up. I mean, I come over here, you ain't working. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Where the flip are you? Folks, if you listen to this long enough, you hear the show long enough, and you listen to the debt-free screams long enough, you find there's two types of people with money. Well, there's a lot of types of people, but people fall largely into two buckets. There's the bucket of people who are doing their debt-free scream, or someone like the young lady we interviewed in our lobby just a few minutes ago. They are happening to their money. The other bucket of people is the people, the money happens to them. Dr. Stephen Covey used to say in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the number one habit of highly effective people is they are proactive. They happen to things. Everything doesn't happen to them. You make the assumption that we can't control all the external variables in our life, but we are largely in charge of our own destiny. Or we stand back and shake our head and wonder why everything bad happens to us. You either tell your money what to do, or you wonder where it went. Money flows from people who do not manage it to the people who do manage it. If you take someone who manages money well and as a result has become wealthy, and they lose everything, they will become wealthy again. Because the things that made them wealthy that did not leave when the money left. And when you take someone who does not manage money well and they're given a pile of money, have you ever noticed they end up with nothing? Because they don't happen to their money happens to them. Case in point, lotto winners. Someone wins the lottery, the bankruptcy rate is fourfold the national average. 4 times as likely to file bankruptcy if you win the lottery as not. Isn't that weird? The vast majority of lotto winners, a decade later, have nothing. Because the very thing that caused them to play the lotto in the first place gives you an indication that you're going to lose it. That's why some athletes, when they get money, end up with nothing. Because the only skill they've got is athletic skill. They had no character, no ability to manage the money, no ability to say no, no ability to have good relationships and boundaries. Those are the things that lead you to build wealth. And so wealth is an intentional act. Now, bad stuff can happen to people, and sometimes people are poor because people are oppressing them. I understand that. I'm not picking on the poor. That's not what I'm doing. But what I am saying is that sometimes you're where you are because of a series of decisions you've made. As a matter of fact, usually you're where you are. And you can make new decisions. You don't have to, well, my family, the way I grew up in my neighborhood, my people, those are how sentences start when people are going to explain why they're losing and it's not their fault. The little man can't get ahead. People like me, you don't understand about the isms that are out there. Yeah, I do. Isms are real. They're real. But I meet people every day who overcome their isms. Sexism, racism. People overcome their isms all the time. Hard work, hustle, smarts, looking forward, controlling the destiny. Can everybody do it? Apparently everybody can do it, but most people choose not to. They choose not to control the variables in their life. And so it comes down to something as simple in personal finance as doing a budget. When you do a budget, it is you exercising the fact that you believe you control your destiny. If you are a victim of destiny, why would you ever do a budget? If you're going to be controlled by an ism, if you're going to be controlled by the way you grew up, if you're going to be controlled by people in my family, people of my heritage, people of my ethnic background, people of, you fill in the blank, if you're going to be controlled by that, I grew up on the other side of the tracks, Dave. Most millionaires did, by the way. The vast majority of millionaires grew up on the other side of the tracks. The only difference in them and the next door neighbor that's still on the other side of the tracks is they decided they didn't want to live there. So they picked their butt up and they moved. to the other side of the tracks. They lived like no one else so that later they could live and give like no one else. Consequently, we see things like the 5 million families that have been through Financial Peace University. You know what the number one data point between them being successful are the ones that are successful going through that, getting out of debt, and the ones that aren't? The number one data point is to do a budget. We can predict your success in Financial Peace University by the second class. It's 9 classes when you go through, 9 lessons. The second lesson, we can tell if you're going to be successful. Did you come in with your zero-based budget done in every dollar the way we teach you? No, I've got my own version of Dave Ramsey. I've got my own version of smart. I'm Ish. I'm Dave Ramsey-ish. I'm going to do Financial Peace University-ish. You're not going to make it. Our data, when 5 million people do something, you got good data, okay? We got good data. We know exactly who's going to make it and who's not. We can study your behavior and tell you, if you keep on this path, you are going to fail. And you've already started down the wrong path, so you got to turn around and go back and start again. The people that do their every dollar budget complete the class. They typically go to all 9 lessons. They stay in the membership for a year, continuing to watch online. They download the podcasts. They watch the debt-free screams on YouTube to stay inspired, to stay on their budget. How interesting. They were sick and tired of being sick and tired. They said, I'm not going to be those people anymore. I am going to control these variables. I'm going to control my destiny. Do sometimes their transmission go out? Does sometimes there a car wreck? Does sometimes somebody get cancer? Does sometimes somebody die? Yes, sometimes tragedy happens. Yes, sometimes they get laid off. Yes, but guess what? They get up and do it again. Sometimes they get knocked on their butt and they get back up and they do it again. And you get back up and you do it again when you have a plan and when you believe you're in control of your destiny. If you fall off your budget and you mess up, you get back up and you do it again. You don't take the Every Dollar app off your phone. Which, by the way, it's fairly easy to put back on because it's free. And you sit down there and you do your budget. The correlating statistic between people that win at anything and people that lose are those that are intentional. People that win are intentional. You don't accidentally win the freaking Super Bowl. They never interview the guys at the end of the Super Bowl and go, how'd you do that? I don't know, man. I just got off the bus and I just won. I have no idea. No, it's an intentional act of a decade plus, 2 decades usually, of practice and skill development that brought them to that. 10,000 hours of practice brought them to that. You don't accidentally play a guitar like Brad Paisley. It's not an accident. It's an intentional act. Now, some of you got drunk and woke up married, but most people getting married is an intentional act. You date, you court, you're very focused, you do everything right, you smile at the right time, and you shave and take a bath. And it causes courting to work, and you get married. As we've been doing this millionaire research, one of the pieces of data that we've discovered is by studying 10,000 millionaires, that the average millionaire drives a 4-year-old car with 41,000 miles on it, and of course it's paid for, and they haven't had car payments in decades, which is how they became a millionaire, because the average car payment now is over $500, about $504 a month over 84 months. If you invest $504 from age 30 to age 70, you'll have somewhere around $5 million in your Roth IRA. I hope you like your car. Our advice, knowing that cars lose 60 to 70% of their value in the first 4 years, is to buy a quality used car unless you have a net worth in excess of $1 million. Then if you want to buy a new car, you can afford to take the loss on it. But the worst car accidents do happen on the showroom floor. Well, Dave, I'm always worried about buying a used car. Well, what are you driving? If you're driving a car that you bought 2 months ago, it's now a used car. If you're driving a car you bought 5 years ago, it's a used car. What are you driving? Listen, the vehicle quality is so high now that we get through 300,000 miles out of a car. Most of these cars run and run and run and run and run if you have to take care of them. So don't buy a new car unless you've got a net worth in excess of $1 million. Now, how do you negotiate the best deal on your car? Well, the same way you do a lot of things. There's a couple of keys to negotiating. One is he with the most knowledge wins. So study. Learn about that car. Go on Trader.com. Go on Kelley Blue Book and Edmunds.com and look up stuff about the car. Google the car. Read articles about the car. Look at different versions of the car, different packages that are on the car. The luxury package, the standard package, the two-door, the four-door, the different engines that are in that particular car. Learn all about a Honda Civic if you're going to buy a Honda Civic. Learn. People impulse a big purchase like a car. That makes you stupid. You don't impulse that. You study that. And then pay cash, of course. Now, most of the time, paying cash means that you are doing a bank transfer. But sometimes you can walk in with the cash and just lay it on the table. It's not that much money. I mean, $7,000, $10,000, $15,000, whatever. It kind of blows a dealer's mind, but certainly if you're buying from an individual, when you put cash on the table, it says we have a deal. It doesn't say, oh, I need to check with my banker. You ever sold a car on Craigslist? I need to check with my banker, and then you never hear from them again. I'll take it, but my banker will do it, and never hear from them again. But when you lay cash on the table, there's no, I need to check with my banker in there. It's a done deal, baby. It's locked in, right? And listen, don't get married to one car. Be prepared to walk away. Listen, when you bought something emotionally, even the most inept seller recognizes the body language changes. I mean, you guys know when somebody's bought something, right? Even though they haven't done the deal. The negotiation's over once they know you're married. I'm married. I have to have this car. So just be quiet. Let them talk, the seller, that is. Tell them, you've looked this car up, you've studied a lot, this seems a little high. And then be quiet. Let them talk. You can negotiate online. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can have the car inspected. And a good thing to do, too, is check with one of our endorsed local providers on the insurance side and find out what it costs to insure that car. You might be looking at one $7,000 car that's almost twice as much to insure as another $7,000 car.
All right, you guys, that's a wrap on this limited series, Dave Ramsey's Greatest Hits. I loved looking back at the last 10 years of The Ramsey Show on video, reliving some of the best moments, and honestly, seeing how consistent Dave has been over time. It really is a testament to the timeless money principles that we still teach on The Ramsey Show. And yes, some things have changed. The studio has gotten a makeover. Dave's fashion choices may or may not have gotten a makeover. And now we have a whole team of personalities instead of just Dave. But despite all these changes, the advice we teach has stayed the same. It still works. And if you follow our money principles, you will build wealth. Good news, you can keep up with our life-changing content every weekday on The Ramsey Show. Just make sure that you're subscribed to The Ramsey Show channel. And as always, thank you so much for joining me for Dave Ramsey's Greatest Hits.